Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I do want to show you how to crochet this Chanel style jacket, which has been really in trend recently, and I also crocheted it with red color, which is also very in trend recently. As probably you have seen from the thumbnail, this is a project that is not for the beginners, and that is because of the construction of this jacket, because it has a lot of neck shaping, arm shaping, and all these things that make a pattern difficult for beginners. But other than that, it is beginner friendly because it has been used only single crochet and slip stitch, two very easy stitches, but because of the shaping, I think it is not very beginner friendly. So without further ado, let's just get into this tutorial. For this project, I'm going to use some red yarn, and this red yarn is 100% acrylic and is 50 grams per skein, 150 meters long. Also, I am going to use a 4.5 millimeter hook. First, we are going to start the back side of the pattern, the back panel, and I am going to start from top down. For the size S, we are going to start crocheting 56 chain stitches. Once I crocheted 56 chain stitches, I'm going to skip the first chain stitch and insert the hook in the second chain stitch from the hook, and I'm going to crochet a single crochet. And that's what I'm going to do for all the rest of the chain stitches. I'm going to continue crocheting one single crochet on each chain stitch until the end of the chain stitches. So in total for the size S, I'm gonna have 55 single crochet stitches at the end of the first row. So here it is, I finished the first row with 55 for size S, of course, 55 single crochet stitches. Then now I'm going to do one chain stitch, I'm going to turn my work on the other side, and I'm going to skip the chain stitch that I did, and of course I'm going to crochet one single crochet on the first stitch from the hook, of course skipping the chain stitch that we did. So I'm going to do one single crochet and insert the hook again on the next stitch, grabbing both loops of the stitch and single crochet. So I'm going to continue crocheting one single crochet on each stitch until the end of the second row, and in total I'm going to have again 55 single crochet stitches. And here we are. I finished the second row with single crochet. So I did also one chain stitch, and now I'm going to turn my work on the other side, and I'm going to work the third row. So from the third row until the 25th row, I'm going to work with single crochet stitches, 55 for the size S, of course, 55 single crochet stitches for each row until I arrive at row 25. So I will meet you once I am at row 25, and for each row we are just going to repeat the same pattern of the second row. So 55 single crochet stitches. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I finished 25 rows with single crochet, and each row is 55 single crochet stitches. Again, this for size S. Now I am going to start the pattern for row 26. For row 26, we are going to start doing some increases. So we're going to increase one stitch on this side and one stitch on the other side. So to do the increases on both sides, at the row 25, I'm going to actually crochet 2 chain stitches at the end. So I already crochet 1 chain stitch, I'm going to do 2, and now I'm going to turn my work on the other side, and now I'm going to start and crocheting the 26th row. So for the 26th row, what we are going to do is skip the chain stitch and single crochet in the second chain stitch. I will put a marker over here so then I know where are my increases and decreases. So now once I crocheted the first single crochet, then I'm going to continue another 55 single crochets until the last stitch. And here we are, I finished so the one single crochet here that we added, and then 55 single crochets that are from the previous pattern. And now at the last at the last stitch, actually we're going to do a 56th one. So I'm going to do in the same, at the last stitch, I'm going to crochet actually 2 single crochets. So I crocheted 55, so I'm going to crochet also one more at the last one. So I am increasing one more stitch on this other side. So in total, including the first single crochet that we did here, where was the chain stitch, in total we are going to have 57 single crochets. So what I'm going to do next for the 26th row, I'm going to crochet 2 chain stitches, 1, 2, and now I'm turning my work like this, and I'm starting to crochet the 27th row. At the 27th row, again, we're gonna do 2 increases, 1 increase on this side and 1 increase on the other side. So I'm going to skip the first chain stitch and crochet 1 single crochet on the second chain stitch, and this is my first increase, where I'm not going to put a marker here, I'm going to put a marker on the other side because I want to keep all the markers in one side, but you can put a marker if you want to. So I am going to continue now crocheting all the rest of the stitches one by one with single crochet, which in total, after this 1 single crochet that I did here, so in total I'm going to have 57 until the end over here, and actually I'm gonna have 57, and actually I'm going to crochet 1 more single crochet in the last stitch. So it means I'm going to crochet 57 single crochet stitches, but 1 more single crochet at the last stitch. So I'm gonna have, except do not count the single crochet that I did here, I'm gonna have 58 single crochets. Together with the single crochet that I did here, I'm gonna have 59 single crochets. So let's continue crocheting 1 single crochet on each stitch until the end, and at the last stitch we are going to crochet, we're going to do 1 increase with single crochet. Okay, here we are. So I finished 59 single crochet stitches, and to finish the 27th row I am going to crochet 2 chain stitches, and I'm going to turn my work on the other side, and on the other side again I'm going to do the same increases. I'm going to skip the first chain and crochet 1 single crochet on the second chain, where I'm going to put a marker. So once I crocheted the first single crochet, which is an increase over here, I have another 59 single crochets until the end. And once I do another 59 until the end, including the first single crochet that we added over here is 60, we're gonna also have in the last stitch, actually we're gonna crochet 2 single crochets in the last stitch. So in total we're gonna have the first single crochet that we increased here and plus 60 single crochets until the last stitch. So at the last stitch we're gonna crochet 2 single crochets. So in total there are gonna be 61 single crochets for the 28th row. I'm gonna continue crocheting 1 single crochet on each stitch. On next stitch 1 single crochet, grabbing both loops, of course. I'm going to continue to do that until the end, and at the last stitch in the end I'm going to crochet 2 single crochets. In total 61 single crochet stitches. And here we are. So once we finish all 61 stitches, here I increased with 2 stitches here at the last stitch. So now I'm going to crochet 2 more chain stitches, and I'm going to turn my work on the other side, and I'm going to start row 29. For the row 29, again, we're going to increase 1 stitch on both sides. So I'm going to skip the first chain stitch, crochet 1 single crochet on the second chain stitch. I'm going to continue crocheting single crochet on each stitch until the end. So I'm going to have another 61 single crochets until the end, and at the last stitch I'm going to crochet 2 stitches. So it's going to be together with the increase that we did here, in total there are going to be 63 single crochet stitches. Okay, so here it is. I finished the 29th row, and for the 29th row we have in total 63 single crochet stitches. Now for the 30th row we are going to increase with 4 stitches on both sides, and it is not easy to do it on this other side where the yarn is not. So to finish row 29 we first need to crochet here 5 chain stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and leave the 5 chain stitches here. And now to start row 30, first on this side we are going to take some red yarn, and we are going to first crochet 5. So insert the hook here at the last stitch. I will take the end of the red yarn and pull a loop here, and I will tangle it a little bit, and of course try not to take the end out. And then I'm going to crochet again 5 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and at the 5th one I'm going to pull some yarn, and I'm going to cut the yarn over here. So you're gonna have this situation going on this side, but don't worry about that. We are going to fix that at the end. So here you had 5 chain stitches on this other side as well. So now we can start and crochet the 30th round. Okay, so now let's start the 30th row, and for the 30th row we are going to turn our work on the other side, and we are going to skip the first chain stitch, insert the hook in the second chain stitch and crochet 1 single crochet, and continue crocheting until the end of the chain stitches. So we're gonna have 4 single crochets on the chain stitches, on the 4 chain stitches that we have left. In total we're gonna have 4 single crochets on the chain stitches that we added on this side. Now we're going to crochet here on the body, so grabbing both loops of the stitch, and we are going to crochet 63 single crochet stitches until the last stitch before we started crocheting the chain stitches. So we crocheted here 4 single crochets on this side. Now we have 63 here until a previous row stitches. Then we're gonna have another 4 single crochets here at the tail that we have made with a single crochet. So in total we're gonna have 71 single crochet stitches from the beginning to the end for the 30th row. So let's continue crocheting another 63 until here, and 4 to the chain stitches over here at the end. And 1 chain, and this is the pattern for row 30. Now we're going to start the pattern for row 31. For row 31 we're just going to repeat the same pattern of row 30, which means that we are going to turn our work on the other side, and we are just going to continue without increasing or decreasing, and we are just going to continue crocheting, skipping the first chain of course, and then continue crocheting 71 single crochet stitches until the last chain stitch. And we are going to do this from row 31 until we are at row 77. So forth and back crochet 71 single crochet stitches. So I turn my work, I will skip the chain stitch, insert the hook on the next stitch and one single crochet, and I'm going to crochet single crochet stitches all the way until the end. In total 71. Okay, you guys, so here I am. I finished the 78th round, sorry, row, not the 77th. So we are going to have 49 rows here from the beginning here until the end. So 49 rows. So in total, I have 78 rows until here. So now I am going to cut the yarn. Just going to leave some for the sewing. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my work at the top here. And here I'm going to work on this side 4 rows, and on this side again another 4 rows, because I want to leave some space here at the back for the neck. So we're gonna turn our project on the side that we have the rows in sets. So I'm going to take some yarn and I'm going to start from the first stitch here. Try to find the first stitch. I'm going to tangle the yarn very well. So I'm going to leave the end so it will not escape. And from here I'm going to do 1 chain, and this is my first, let's say it's single crochet. I will put a marker to the chain stitch that I did, so then I know where I started. This is my first stitch. So then I'm going to continue to the second stitch. So to the next stitch I'm going to continue a second crochet, a second single crochet. So that means the second one is a single crochet, but the first stitch is just 1 chain. So 2, and insert in the next stitch. So we are going to crochet here 22 single crochet stitches. Of course, the first one, it was just the loop and the chain that we did. So pick 22 stitches for the shoulder. Okay, so here at the top we did 22 single crochet stitches. Then I am going to not do any chain stitches. Then I'm going to turn my work and I am going to skip the stitch, the first stitch, and I'm going to insert the hook at the second stitch, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet, and this is 1 decrease. So on this side, at the next side, we're going to do 1 decrease on the second row of the shoulder. Then I'm going to continue on each stitch 1 single crochet. So this time I'm going to have to the end. So at this side I'm not going to do any at the arm, I'm not going to do any kind of decreases, just at the neck side. So I'm going to continue crocheting single crochets until the end. In total I'm going to have 21 single crochets. And here we are, I finished 21 single crochet stitches, and here I'm going to take out the marker because I don't need it anymore. Then I'm going to do 1 chain. I'm going to turn my work now, and now I'm working towards the neckline, right? And here again I'm going to crochet for the 3rd row of the neckline. I am going to crochet now 19 stitches, and then the last 2 stitches I am going to decrease with a single crochet. So let's do 19 single crochet stitches, and then the last 2 stitches we will decrease in 1 stitch. So in total we're going to have 20 single crochets. Okay, here we are. I finished the 19 single crochet stitches for the third row. So where we are shaping the neck here from the inside, I'm going to insert the hook. I'm going to do a decrease. So I'm going to insert the hook, yarn over, pull through. Again, in the last stitch, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through. And I have 3 loops on the hook, and yarn over and pull through all these 3 loops. So this is the last stitch. So in total I'm gonna have 20 single crochet stitches for the third row. Then again, I'm not gonna do any chain, and I'm gonna turn my work like this. So now I'm working towards the armhole, right? So this is the neck's shaping. Okay, so I am going to do again one more decrease. So I'm going to insert the hook at the first stitch, or I can just skip this one and insert the hook on the second one. It is fine. You can do both ways. Insert the hook here, pull 1 loop, insert the hook here, pull a second loop, and then pull all 3 loops together. This is one way of doing the decrease. It will be okay. Or you can just skip this one and insert in the second one, and yarn over, pull through, and 1 single crochet. So we did 1 single crochet here, the 1 decrease, then we have another 18 stitches to go until the end, which we will continue with single crochet. So in total 19 single crochet for the 4th row of the shoulder shaping, of the neck shaping. Okay, here we are. I finished 19 single crochet stitches, and I'm gonna do 1 chain and pull some yarn, because I will need maybe for the sewing of the shoulders. Okay, so here we are. This is how one side of the shoulder will look like. And we are going to repeat the same pattern of these 4 rows on this side. So we are going to start working from the arm here and then towards the neck, okay? And then we are going to do all 3 decreases over here on the next 3 rows. And we are going to end up with 19 single crochet stitches. Again, 19 is for the size S. So let's just repeat that on the other side. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I did finish also the other side, and this is how the back panel will look like. Now we're going to start the panel for the front. So for the front, we're gonna have 2 panels. I'm gonna show you the pattern of 1, because that is going to be repeated 1 more time, so we will have for both sides. So again, we're going to start from top down. This is how this pattern it is going to be worked, not from bottom up. So we are going to start first with 20 chain stitches. Then we are going to start the first row. So for the first row, we are going to skip the first chain stitch and do a single crochet on the second chain stitch. And keep doing single crochet stitches until the end. So in total, we're gonna have 19 single crochet stitches for the first row. So once we finish 19 single crochet stitches for the first row, we're gonna do 1 chain, and we're gonna turn our work on the other side. Again, for the second row, we're going to skip the chain that we did and insert the hook on the first stitch from the hook. Of course, skipping the chain and 1 single crochet. Continue crocheting on each stitch 1 single crochet. So in the second row, again, we are crocheting 19 single crochet stitches until the end. So here it is, the second row, 19 single crochet, again 1 chain, turn our work, and in the third row we are repeating the same pattern of the second row. Skip the chain that we crocheted and insert the hook on the next stitch and 1 single crochet, and continue crocheting to the end, 19 single crochet stitches. And we are going to repeat the same pattern for round number 4 as well. So this is now round number 3, again 19 single crochet until the end, and round number 4 we are again going to crochet 19 single crochet. So for the first 4 rows we are going to have 19 single crochet stitches. So I will meet you once I finish row number 4. So here we are, I finished row number 4. Again, as I told you, for this first 4 rows we have 19 single crochet. Now at the end of row number 4 we are now going to crochet 2 chain stitches instead of 1 as we usually do, and that is because on the 5th row we are starting to do some increases. So for that you're gonna need some markers to mark these increases. So for row number 5, now the pattern it is going to be like this. We're gonna turn our work like this. We are going to skip the first chain from the hook and we are going to crochet 1 single crochet on the second chain from the hook. And I'm gonna put a marker here so that I will mark the first increase. Then I will continue crocheting the rest of the stitches one by one, which are 19. So 19 here and then 1 that I increased. In total for the 5th row we have 20 single crochet stitches. So continue crocheting the rest of the stitches with single crochet. So here it is, row number 5. So now I am going to do 1 more chain stitch and we are going to turn our work. On this side we are not increasing. This is going to be the armhole side and here is going to be the neck side where we are doing some shaping. So on this side where we start around row number 6 we don't increase. Okay, so now for row number 6 the pattern it is going to be like this. We're going to skip the chain that we crocheted and we're going to do 1 single crochet on the next stitch and we are going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches until the last stitch. So we are going to do in total 20 single crochet stitches. The only thing is that in the same last stitch we are increasing with 1 stitch. So I am going to crochet in total 21 single crochet stitches. So I will continue crocheting 1 stitch on each stitch until here, but at the last one I'm going to crochet 2 stitches and not 1 instead of 1. So I am going to have in total 21 single crochet stitches. So here at the last stitch I'm going to crochet 2 single crochet stitches in 1 stitch instead of 1. So 1 and 2. And I'm going to put a marker so I don't need to count later on. It's easier to count having the markers there. So here's the second marker. So and then to finish the 6th row I am going to crochet 2 more chain stitches. And this is because when we are turning on the 7th row I am going to do 1 increase. So the pattern for the once you turn around your work, the pattern for the 7th row it is going to be skip 1 chain stitch, the first chain stitch, and crochet 1 single crochet in the second chain stitch. And I'm going to put a marker here again. And I will continue crocheting single crochet stitches on each stitch until the last stitch of the row. So once I did the first single crochet on the chain stitch, then I have to crochet another 21 single crochets until the last stitch. So in total the 7th row has 22 single crochet stitches. So here it is, the 7th row. You can see now the shaping of, so in this side is the shaping of the neck and in here is the armhole. So to finish row number 7 we're going to do 1 more chain and we're going to turn our work on the other side. And this is because we don't do any increases on the armhole side. So now we are going to continue crocheting row number 8, 9 and 10, and on each of the coming 3 rows, so from row number 8 to row number 10, we are going to increase 1 stitch always on the side of the neck shaping side of the panel. So at the end of row 10 you're going to end up with an amount of 25 single crochet stitches. And this is my 6th increase and the last one. Okay, so then to finish the 10th row we're gonna have to crochet 8 chain stitches, because on the next row we are going to increase 7 stitches altogether. 8 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I finished row number 10. And now I'm going to start the pattern for row number 11. For that, I'm going to turn my work like this. I'm going to skip the first chain stitch. I'm going to insert the hook on the second chain stitch and single crochet. Continue crocheting single crochet stitches on each chain stitch until you arrive at the last chain stitch. So in total, you're going to have 7 single crochet stitches at the last chain stitch. 6 and 7. So I crocheted all the chain stitches that I added before. I'm gonna put a marker here so that I know where I started. Then to finish the row until the end, on this side we are not going to do any increases. So to finish the row we are going to continue crocheting all the stitches one by one, and it's going to be 25 single crochet stitches until the end. Together with this 7 single crochets that we added on this side, there are going to be 32 single crochet stitches. So I hope that makes sense. So I am going to continue now crocheting single crochet stitches on each stitch to the end, 32 single crochet stitches with the 7 stitches that we added here. Okay, so here we are at the end, and I'm going to do 1 chain stitch, and I'm going to turn my work now on this other side, and I am going to start crocheting row number 12. So for row number 12 we are just going to repeat the same as row 11. So I am going to skip the first chain and I'm going to crochet a single crochet on the next stitch from the hook. So and I'm not going to do any increases or decreases. In total 32 single crochet stitches until the last stitch over here. So for row 12 I'm going to repeat the pattern of row 11, so 32 single crochet stitches, and I'm going to repeat that pattern for each row, 32 single crochet stitches, until I arrive at the 29th row. So from row 11 to row 29 we are crocheting 32 single crochet stitches forth and back. So I will see you once I finish row 29. Okay, you guys, here we are. I finished the 29th row, and when I finished the 29th row I ended up on the arm opening side and not on the neck shaping, okay? And in total I have 29 rows, but the rows that I did without increases anymore are only 19 over here, okay? So now I'm going to start the 30th row, but to finish the 29th row we are now starting to do the armpit over here, so we're going to do some increases. So to start and do that on the 30th row, first on the 29th we are going to crochet 2 chain stitches. So I have already 1 chain stitch, so 2 chain stitches. Now we increase on this side, right? So now we're going to turn our work and we're going to start the pattern of the 30th row. For the 30th row, I'm going to skip the first chain and I'm going to crochet 1 single crochet on the second chain stitch. And I'm going to put a marker here because I want to know where my increases are. So I did 1 increase on this side, and now the rest is just 32 single crochet stitches until this side over here on the next side. So I increased with 1 stitch here and then continue crocheting 32 single crochet stitches until the end. In total the 30th row has 33 single crochet stitches. So here we are, I finished 33 single crochet stitches, and to finish the 30th row we need 1 more chain stitch and we're going to turn our work, and now we start the pattern for the 31st row. So on the 31st row again we are increasing, but not on the neck opening side but on the arm opening side. Okay, so from here we are not going to do any increases, but we're going to do here at the end on the 31st row. So I will the pattern continues like this. I will skip the chain that I just crocheted, and I'm going to do one single crochet on the next stitch. I'm going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches until one stitch before the last one. So in total I have 32 single crochet stitches, and then at the last one I'm going to crochet 2 single crochet in one stitch. So in total I'm going to have one increase here at the last stitch, and in total I'm going to have 34 single crochet stitches. So let's crochet until the end, and let's increase one stitch at the last stitch of the row. So here at the last stitch I will crochet 2 single crochets. So like this I did one increase on the arm opening side. Now to finish the 31st row I need 2 chain stitches, and I'm going to put a marker here. Okay, so now we're going to start the 32nd row, and the 32nd row I'm gonna turn my work like this now, and I am directly starting to increase because we are on the arm opening side. So I'm going to skip the first chain and crochet 1 single crochet on the second chain stitch. I'm gonna put again a marker here, so this is my 3rd increase. And the rest I'm just going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches until the end here, and in total I'm gonna have 34 single crochet stitches more to crochet. So together with the one that I just did is 35 single crochet stitches in total. So now let's just crochet all the stitches one by one with single crochet until the end. And here we are, finished the 32nd row. So now I will do one more chain, and I'm gonna turn my work on the other side, and I start working from the neck opening side towards the armpit side. Okay, so this is my 34th row for size S, of course. No, sorry, my 33rd row. So for that I am going to skip the first chain stitch that I did and crochet 1 single crochet on the second stitch from the hook. I will continue crocheting single crochet stitches until the end, until one stitch before the end. At the last stitch I am going to again increase with 1 single crochet. So I will continue crocheting 34 single crochet stitches until here, 1 stitch before the last one, and at the last one I'm going to crochet 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. In total for the 33rd row I'm going to have 36 single crochet stitches. Okay, here we are. I finished 36 single crochet stitches and I increased over here, and I am going to now continue the 33rd row with 5 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and this is because we are going to add on the 34th row, we are going to add 4 stitches in the same time. So now I finished the 33rd row and I'm going to put a marker. Okay, so now after I did also the 5 chain stitches, I am going to turn my work on the other side and I'm going to work the 35th row. And for the 35th row we are going to work this pattern. I'm going to skip the first chain stitch and I'm going to crochet 1 single crochet on the second chain stitch, and again on the 3rd chain stitch, and on the 4th chain stitch, and on the 5th chain stitch. And all my chain stitches now are crocheted, the ones that I did previously. So I have 4 single crochet stitches here on top of the 4 single crochet stitches. So 1 chain stitch we used for the turning. So now I am left with the 36 stitches that I did on the previous row. Okay, so I added 4 single crochets here on the chain stitches, and now I will crochet the rest of the stitches with single crochet again, and I have another 36 to the end of the row to go. So in total there are going to be, with this 4 that I added here, there are going to be 40 single crochet stitches in total for the 34th row. Here we are. I finished all 40 single crochet stitches until the end of the row 34. Now I'm going to do one more chain stitch and I'm going to turn my work on the other side. And now I'm going to work the 35th row, which is just the repetition of the 34th row. And I am working from the neck opening towards the arm opening. Okay, so I am going to work another 40 single crochet stitches. Of course I will skip the chain stitch that I did and crochet the next stitch on top here with single crochet, and in total I'm going to have 40 single crochet stitches until the end. So I'm going to repeat that from row 35 until row 82. So I am going to crochet 49 rows with this pattern that I just told you. Okay, for each row 40 single crochet forth and back. So from row 34 that we just did until row 82 we are going to have 49 rows with this pattern, 40 single crochet on each row. So I am just going to continue that, and in total, only this part that we are crocheting 40 single crochet stitches, single crochet stitches for each row, there are going to be 49 in total over here, but together with the ones that we did from the beginning until here, there are going to together with this part and the 49 stitches that we are repeating the pattern of the 34th row, there are going to be in total, the length is going to be in total 82 rows. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I did finish all the 49 rows with repeating 40 stitches per each row. So this is the pattern for the front side, and we are going to repeat the same pattern one more time. So we're going to do 2 of them, which I already did previously. Here is my second one, and this is going to come on top of this one here because we're going to put the snaps and the buttons over here. So this is the second one. So now, once we have already finished the back panel, the 2 front panels, now we're going to start the pattern for the sleeves. For the sleeves, we are going to start with 81 chain stitches for size S. So once I finished 81 chain stitches, I'm going to start the first row and I'm going to skip the first chain from the chain stitches that I did, and I'm going to insert the hook in the second chain from the hook. So I will insert the hook in the second chain and I'm going to do 1 single crochet. And I'm going to continue crocheting single crochets until the end. In total, I'm going to have 80 single crochet stitches. And here it is. Once the first row with 80 single crochet stitches is done, I am going to do 1 more chain and then I'm going to turn my work on the other side. And for the second row, I'm going to skip the chain stitch that I just did. I'm going to insert the hook in the first stitch after the chain stitch and single crochet, and I'm going to continue single crochet until the end of the row. In total, for the second row, we're gonna have again 80 single crochet stitches. And this is the pattern that we are going to continue from now on until we have in total 42 rows. So I will continue working 80 single crochet stitches for each row until I have in total 42 rows. Okay, you guys, here we are. I finished 42 rows with single crochets for size S, which is 80 single crochets for each row. Now we are going to start decreasing, because we are going to have, this is the main part of the sleeve, and then we're going to decrease this way, and then we're going to start again on this side and decrease this way. So this is the pattern that we are going to follow. So for that, once you finished the 42 rows, we are going to do this pattern. I'm going to, again, at the end, one chain stitch, and then I'm going to turn my work on the other side. So now the pattern for the 43rd row, it is going to be like this. I'm going to skip the chain stitch, of course. I'm going to do one single crochet on the second stitch from the hook. So in the stitch after the chain stitch. And I'm going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches until I have in total 79 single crochet stitches. So the pattern for the 43rd row is 79 single crochet stitches. And here we are. I finished 79 single crochet stitches. For the 44th row, I am not going to do any chain stitch here, so I'm just directly, once I finish the slips, the single crochet, the 79th one, I'm just going to turn my work and I'm going to start directly the 44th row. So for that, I am going to skip the first stitch from the hook, and I'm going to insert the hook in the second stitch from the hook, and I'm going to do a slip stitch, and I'm going to continue crocheting slip stitch on each stitch until I have in total 5 slip stitches. So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So for the 44th row, we are going to do backwards. We are skipping the first stitch and we are continuing crocheting 5 slip stitches. Then after I have 5 slip stitches, I'm going to crochet in the on the next stitch, I'm going to crochet a single crochet. So after 5 slip stitches, 1 single crochet, where I am going to put a marker so that I know where is my first stitch of the row, because this will help me for the counting when I come back. Then I will continue crocheting single crochet stitches until the end of the 44th row. So at the 44th row, we're going to have next in total 73 single crochet stitches and 5 slip stitches. And here we are. I finished the 44th row. So now we are going to, once I finish the single crochet over here at the end, I'm not going to do a chain stitch, and I'm going to just directly turn on the other side, and I'm going to start the 45th row. The 45th row is from the side of the arm to the side of the wrist, because here we are doing the decreases. So here is the wrist. Okay, so this is the arm, here is the wrist. So we are starting from the arm and ending on the wrist side for the 45th row. So for the 45th row, what I'm going to do, I am going to skip the first stitch, and I'm going to insert the hook on the second stitch and crochet a single crochet. So I did one decrease, and I'm going to put a marker over here. Then for the rest, I'm going to continue crocheting another 65 single crochet stitches. So together with this one, the first one is 66, right? So another 65 single crochet stitches. Okay, you guys, so here we are. I finished 65 single crochet stitches for row 45, and I do want to correct myself that there are 65 together with the decrease stitch that we did here, and not 66. So 65 single crochet stitches in total. Then at the 66th, I am going to do one slip stitch. And now I have finished the 45th row. I'm going to turn my work like this, and then I'm going to start the 46th row. For the 46th row, I am going to skip the first stitch, and I'm going to insert the hook at the second stitch, and I'm going to do one slip stitch. Then I'm going to insert the hook in the next stitch, and I'm going to do a second slip stitch. I'm going to continue crocheting slip stitches until I have 5 slip stitches in total. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more, 5. So we start with 5 slip stitches and skipping 1 stitch. Then at the 6th stitch we do 1 single crochet. I will put a marker here to know for the counting, it will help me. And then I'm going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches on each stitch until I have 58 single crochet stitches, and I am left with 2 stitches here at the end. Then we're gonna do a decrease. So let's crochet 58 single crochet stitches together with the first one that I did here. And I will meet you once I have finished all the 58 single crochet stitches. And here we are. Once I finish 58 single crochet stitches, I'm going to do one decrease. So I'm going to insert the hook at the 59th stitch, pull through, and insert the hook at the 60th stitch, yarn over, pull through. I have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all these 3 loops. So together with the 58 stitches, together with the one decrease, there are 59 single crochet stitches and 5 slip stitches here at the beginning for row 46. Okay, I'm gonna put a marker here so I know that I made a decrease. And now I'm going to turn my work on the other side, and I'm working from the arm to the wrist, where we do the decreases from arm to wrist in this direction for row 47. And for row 47 we do the decrease at the beginning. So what I'm going to do, I am just going to skip the first stitch, and I'm going to crochet a single crochet on the second stitch, and I'm going to put a marker that shows that I already did the decrease. Then I will continue crocheting 1 single crochet on each stitch until I have in total, together with the decrease, 50 single crochet stitches. Okay, so here we are, and another correction over here. In total with the decrease we have 51 single crochet stitches and not 50 as I said before. So I will continue. After 51 single crochet stitches I am going to do 1 slip stitch, and this is the pattern for the 47th row. Now I am going to turn my work on the other side, and I'm working direction from the wrist. We're working from the wrist to the arm. Okay, this is the direction for the 48th row. For the 48th row we are going to do this pattern. We are going to skip the first stitch from the hook, and we are going to insert the hook on the second stitch from the hook, and we're going to do 1 slip stitch, and we're going to continue crocheting slip stitches until I have 5 in total. So 5 slip stitches, 3, 4, and 5, always skipping the first stitch. So now I am going to, after I did 5 slip stitches, I'm going to crochet 1 single crochet, and I'm going to put a marker here. Now I am going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches until the last 2 stitches at the end. So I'm going to in total 44 together with the first stitch where I have the marker. I'm going to crochet 44 single crochet stitches, and at the last 2 stitches I'm going to do a decrease. And once I finish 44 single crochet stitches, at the last 2 stitches of the 48th row I'm going to do 1 decrease. So I'm going to insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, and insert the hook at the next stitch, at the last stitch, yarn over, pull through, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all the 3 loops, and this is my 4th decrease on the armhole side of the sleeve. I'm going to put a marker here. So this is my fourth decrease, and I have one more to do for size S. So this was the pattern for 48th row, and I'm going to start now the pattern for the 49th row. So I'm going to turn my work on the other side, and I'm working towards the wrist side of the sleeve. And for here, again, I'm going to do first one decrease for the 49th row. So I'm going to skip the first stitch from the hook, and I'm going to insert the hook on the second stitch from the hook and just crochet one single crochet. And this is my 5th decrease. And I'm going to put a marker here. Then the rest is simple. I'm going to continue crocheting 36 single crochet stitches on this other side to continue the pattern. Okay, so I finished 36 stitches. Together with the decrease there are 37. Okay, so I did the decrease one stitch and then another 36 single crochet stitches. Then the next stitch is just one slip stitch, and I have finished the pattern for the 49th row. So I'm going to turn my work now at the other side, and I'm working from the wrist side to the armhole side. And for that I'm going to first skip the first stitch, as I always do when I work from the wrist side. So I'm going to skip the first stitch, and I'm going to insert the hook at the second stitch and slip stitch, and I will crochet 5 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So 5 slip stitches. This is the pattern for the 50th row, okay, for the 50th row. Then I'm going to crochet one single crochet where I will put a marker. Then I will continue crocheting single crochet stitches until the end, and we are not doing any more increases or decreases, so we're going to crochet until the end. In total there are going to be 32 stitches, single crochet stitches. Okay, so I finished 32 single crochet stitches. I'm going to do one chain, and I'm going to turn my work to work the pattern for row 51. So for row 51 I'm going to skip the chain that I did, and I'm going to crochet one single crochet on the next stitch from the chain, and I'm going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches until I have in total 25. So in total 25 single crochet stitches. And then once I finish 25 single crochet stitches, at the 26th one I'm going to do one slip stitch, and this is the pattern for the 51st row. So I'm going to turn my work now like this, and I'm going to start the pattern for the 52nd row. And for that I'm going to, so since I'm working from the decreases side, so I'm going to skip the first stitch and do a slip stitch on the second stitch and continue crocheting slip stitches on each stitch until I have 5 slip stitches in total. So 3, 4 and 5, and then at the 6th stitch I'm going to do one single crochet. Then I will continue crocheting single crochet stitches until the end, and in total there are going to be 20 single crochets to the end of the row. So I finished 20 single crochet stitches. I'm going to do one more chain, and I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to work the 53rd row. So I'm going to skip the chain stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet on the next stitch after the chain stitch, and I'm going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches until I have in total 13 single crochet stitches. Then at the 14th stitch I'm going to do one slip stitch, I'm gonna do one more chain, pull some yarn and cut. Okay, you guys, so this is the pattern for the sleeve. This is where the sleeve will take the shape. So if you can see here, we did the shaping of the sleeve on this side. So all those decreases that we did on both sides, so from the 43rd row to the 53rd row, we are just going to repeat one more time on this other side. So we are starting from row 43 until row 53, and we are doing crocheting that on this other side. So I will just take my work like this, and I'm going to start again from the side of that it is going to be connected with the armhole, and this is the side that it is going to be on the wrist side. Okay, so the pattern is like this, it will fold. So we are just going to continue crocheting this part over here on top of this. Okay, you guys, so here we are. So this is how the sleeve will look like, and actually the construction is like this, and we're gonna sew this part to the bodice, and this part this is the underarm. Okay, so I made two of them, of course, and so now we have all the panels except the pockets, but the pockets I'm gonna leave them a little bit later on. So now we are going to sew all the panels except the pockets. So first we are going to sew all the panels together and the pockets at the end. Okay, so once I have all the panels, so I have the back panel, so I'm going to sew it like this shoulder over here with this shoulder over here. This is one side. Then I'm going to sew here and here. Then the next one is the other front panel. Again, on this side, I'm going to sew the shoulder over here with the side over here. So this is the first sewing. So we're gonna sew the shoulders, we're gonna sew the sides. Then I am going to sew the sleeves. First I'm going to sew this sleeve, so of course from here to here, and then I'm going to sew the other sleeve from here to here. Okay, then once I have the sleeves, then I will match them. So I will grab this part over here with this part over here that will be sewed. So I will match them first, then I will match the top over here that is exactly the half of the sleeve with the top over here, and I will stretch it a little bit if it's necessary. Then I will sew all the sleeves all around, and that it's not some kind of crazy sewing. I'm just going to sew just grabbing them like that with the same yarn and with the tapestry needle like this, and I'm just going to sew the sides. So I'm just telling you what I'm doing now. So we're going to sew the panels at the shoulders, on the sides, then sew this sleeves, and then the sleeves over here. Okay, and then I'm going to sew the pockets and the buttons. Okay, you guys, here we are. I did sew all the panels together, and this is how it looks like, and it doesn't look nice. I agree with you if you think that. It's just that the ironing later with the hot steam, it will put everything in order. So it is going to look like this. And I have also mapped out here, I pinned out the pocket because we are doing also two pockets. So for the pockets, we're going to crochet them apart and then I am going to sew them. Let me show you the pattern for the pocket, which is a very simple square and with single crochet. So we are going to start with 21 chain stitches. So here it is. I finished 21 chain stitches. I'm going to skip the first, for the first row, I'm going to skip the first chain stitch and I'm going to crochet a single crochet on the second chain stitch from the hook, and then I'm going to continue crocheting single crochet stitches on each chain stitch until the end. In total, I'm going to have 20 single crochet stitches at the end of the first row. 20 single crochet stitches, and for the second row I'm going to do one chain, turn my work. I will skip the chain stitch that I just did and I will crochet a single crochet on the second stitch from the hook, and I will continue crocheting single crochet until the end of the row. And in total for the second row again I'm going to have 20 single crochet stitches. So I will continue crocheting forth and back 20 single crochet stitches until I have in total 20 rows. Okay, you guys, so here we are. There are 20 rows, forth and back, 20 stitches, forth and back. And now, once I finish, this is the pocket, how it will look like. So I ended up over here. Now I am going to go one round from here, this side, and this side with single crochet, but I will leave this one without crocheting. So I am going to just turn my work like this and keep doing one single crochet. So I have between these two rows I have a hole, so I'm going to insert the hook there and I will do one single crochet. There isn't a specific counting or pattern, you just find a space where is the rows where the rows are connected, and there you insert the hook. If you see that you are doing the single crochet stitches and it is getting too wavy, that means you are crocheting too many stitches in one place, so just spread it out. So there is no pattern, as I told you, just insert the hook wherever you feel that there is enough space for one single crochet for the whole edge. So I'm just going to continue single crochet. So it will look like this. So we have a well worked edge on this side, this one, and this is at the top of the pocket, and I don't feel that there is the need of any edge, so it looks well worked, well crocheted like this. It's neat. So we're just going to continue until the end, and we're going to leave some yarn, leftover yarn, to sew the pocket. So the pockets are going to be placed, in my case, I do want to, because here is going to be the buttons. The buttons are all this space that we have here and this straight edge that we have here. So the buttons are going to be this straight edge. It's going to be covered from this straight edge. This is how the pattern works for me. I am going to fix it with a needle, a tapestry needle, so that it will not move around. I'm going to do the same at the end, so all the stitches over here, I'm going to fix them at the bottom as well. So once the edges here are fixed and in place, I have calculated the pocket to be like this, which is like 3 stitches away from the edge. So if the last stitch of the edge over here, I went down and then I counted 3 stitches, and it was 3 stitches away from the edge. So the edge is over here, I think is 7 or 9 stitches. I don't remember 100%, but you just check here the edge, where is the straight line over here, where it ends. And then you just check 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then this is the position, the point where the pocket will start. And I'm planning to put the pocket like this, so I'm going to leave like 7 rows at the bottom, but 7 or 8 is fine. You can just leave as many as you feel like. So the pocket, it is going to be placed like this, like 3 stitches away from the edge for the size S, of course, like 7 or 8 stitches from the bottom here, and this is how the pocket will be placed. And then the other one, again, I will count like 1, 2, 3 in the same level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one is coming here. Once the pocket are placed, and I feel they are in the same level here, same distance from the center edge here. So now I will fix them. So I fixed this one, and I'm going to sew now with the end, just very simple sewing. I will just sew the edge here and here and here, nothing crazy. And I'm going to do the same for the other pocket. Okay, you guys, so here it is. Both pockets are sewn, and I am contemplating whether should I do a border over here with a single crochet, if I just go one more round or not, because even from my experience with my other jacket that is the same pattern as this one, once you iron with the hot heat, the edges here that you cannot really see, they all turned out pretty well, even without a border all around here. So I am kind of like, should I do it, should I not do it? But in my case, I'm just gonna go ahead now, and I'm just going to block it with heat, and I am not going to do the border over here. But if you want to have a more neater look or like that, something like that, you can just go around one round over here, like an edge with single crochet. You can continue the single crochet on this side and on this side if you want to, and you can continue the single crochet here at the bottom if you want to. It's just up to you. But in my case, I'm just gonna go ahead. Also, you can do a single crochet round over here. It's just up to you. But in my case, I'm just gonna go ahead now, and I'm just going to block it with the iron, with heat blocking. I don't know how you call that. Like, also, before I start blocking, I am going to fix this edge here at the top and here at the end, and maybe also here in the middle, because here is, like, if you see, this is the straight pattern over here, and this is the border. This is the edge for the buttons. So this is the same over here, so they will overlap, and I'm going to level them up, and I'm going to fix them with a tapestry needle so they don't move. I'm gonna do the same here at the bottom. Okay, so now it's ready to block it. Firstly, I do want to excuse for the quality of the video because it was a rainy day that day. However, I started to block it with the heat. I went over and over a few times, so the ironing was the same all over the panels. Okay, you guys, so here we are. This is how the jacket now looks after ironing. It has become very soft, and I would say that this is a process that is not easy and it might go wrong. So that's why I would recommend you to just start slowly, not with very high heat. I had it at the heat was number 2, which was the middle one, and sometime I would just go over this side and then I will go over this side, so the length will match, the pockets will match, and all that stuff. And then if I wanted to make it longer, I would just go over again with heat and then again on the other side. And I went forth and back until yeah, if I saw that, for example, this side was a little bit shorter than this side, I would just come over to this side and just go over to some sections that maybe were tighter, and then I will adjust the length and the measurement. So it's just up to you how you are going to deal with this process, because you have to really be very careful. If you are just going to go with a heat like this and steam it and iron it, and you're gonna have some bad results. So you have to go slow with this one, and you have to see which side is not good, is not in the right size, and if the sides match, if the pockets match, if the length here match. What I'm gonna do now, I am just going to put some snaps and some buttons. Yeah, so now I am going to use this golden plastic buttons that I bought online. Their size is, the diameter is about 2.5 centimeters. And I don't have the buttonholes. I did not do those because I wasn't sure if I was going to calculate them right. After steaming, they might not be in place. So that's why I went this way. And because I am going this way, I'm going to use some snaps. Transparent snaps that you sew one side to one side and the other one on the other side, and then you just snap them together. So this is going to be the closure, and they are transparent, which is great. And I am going to place them. This is kind of like the biggest size of the sets, because there were 3 sizes, a small, medium and big, and this was the biggest one which I'm using. So I'm going to sew the snaps first where the buttons are, and also on the other side the snap like this. Make sure to sew them in the same height. And yeah, I'm gonna sew first the snaps, and then I'm going to sew the buttons at like this, oopsie, in this position. And yeah, you guys, I also want to tell you a little bit the measurements that I have now after. I didn't tell you the measurements before ironing it, but it was like really tight. So this is perfect for my size, for size S. It's loose, and yeah, it was perfect. So the size is like this, from one shoulder to another here, one here at the top. It is 37.5 centimeters. From here, where is the bust, is 47 centimeters. From the top to the bottom is 49 centimeters. And as for the sleeves, they are perfect. The length is perfect. It's not like too long, and it's like this. And the shoulder here to the bottom of to the end of the sleeve is 56 centimeters. So these are the measurements. Okay, you guys, so let's sew the snaps and the golden buttons, and let me show you how this project turned out.